Hey everybody, this is Ryan with RedDragonHerbs.net, and today we're sitting in my backyard, and there are some chickens actually roaming around. They will be making a little bit of noise. Please bear with them. I think it gives a little bit of character. Now, today we're going to talk about a linguistic issue, actually, and I think this is interesting. Now, when you think of the word chai in the United States, normally you think of a certain type of tea, or moreover, certain spices in tea. Cardamom is the main one, or maybe you might think of something more like a chai masala, which we carry, which has cardamom, a little bit of ginger, cinnamon, black pepper. You think of something that comes from the Middle East or India or so forth, and that's how I always thought of it. Now, in 2004/5, I went to Iraq, and the people there were always serving us cups of chai, and it was this black tea with cardamom in it. And me personally, since it was so different from the tea that we would normally drink in the United States, at the time, I just may have known like Earl Grey, basic green, black, whatever. I assumed that chai was a certain type of tea. But it's actually a linguistic issue, and let's talk about that. Now, what I have here is a Chinese character, or my attempt at drawing at it, and this character means tea. Maybe I screwed it up and maybe it says like grapefruit frustration or something. I don't know, but I did my best. You guys get the idea. And now, Chinese is a complicated language by all accounts. Of course, I've never tried to learn it, but from people who have tried to learn it, it's not easy. Okay, and this character, although the characters I believe are more or less standard, the dialects are different, just like in English and well, many other languages where sometimes we pronounce things a little bit different, but maybe it is more pronounced than Chinese. I'm not exactly sure. Now, this character right here in the central coastal part of China where Guangzhou is, which is one of the largest cities, used to be called Canton back in the colonial days. They pronounced this character T. And in the northern parts of China where they have the Mandarin dialect, and even parts of southern China where they have a southern Cantonese dialect, they pronounce this cha. So you have tea or something resembling that and chai in these certain parts of China. Now, in the world's languages, of course, in English we call tea tea, and French, Spanish, it's te, German, it's te, Dutch, it's te, I believe, and the Scandinavian languages call it something resembling tea. And and I believe most of Africa calls it tea. And once you start getting into Central Europe, there becomes a line. I believe the Poles call it tea, the Hungarians call it tea, but once you get down into, say, Bulgaria, Greece, the Ukraine, Slovenia, maybe, then the Baltic countries, they call it chai. And Russian, of course, they call it chai. The Turks call it chai. Why is this? Well, the reason why it is like this is the people that got this stuff, what we call tea, from the Cantonese traders on the coast, and they called it tea, and they brought it back to their countries and called it tea. So this would have been the seafaring people, like say the British, the Portuguese. Well, they were the two big ones at the time, and the Dutch. And so they called it tea. They're like, well, what is this stuff you picked up from China? Well, it's tea. Oh, okay, great. We'll call it tea. And then now the people in northern China, they called it cha. And when they sent it across the way to in the camel caravans to Russia, it was chai. And into the caravans into Tibet, chai. Across to Japan, chai. So basically, the way the world looks right now is the people that encountered tea first through sea trade. So, Europe, the entire Anglosphere, of course, all of Latin America, Sub-Sahara Africa would have gotten tea from European trade for the most part, I believe, and we all call it tea. Then everybody, India, Russia, Turkey, the parts of Europe that Turkey invaded back during the Ottoman days, they all call it chai. So I think that is interesting how these two words that mean the same thing have diffused throughout the world and can originate back to these little places in China where they first got it. So now, wherever you're at in the world, if you want a cup of tea, ask for tea. And if they give you a funny look, ask for chai. And you're going to get a cup of tea, no matter where you're at. This has been Ryan with Red Dragon Herbs, and thanks for watching.